Okay. We're back, and I'm pleased. Chris Marinak is joining me, the COO of Major League Baseball. And he joined in 2008, I believe. And prior to that, was a college ball player at UVA for the Cavaliers, Harvard Business School. I think it was the sports journal. You were the top 40 under 40. And among his responsibilities, of all the responsibilities as COO, one of them is, technology and, digital strategies, et cetera. And so first of all, thanks for having us here. And then thanks for joining us.
Yeah, happy to have you guys. I was telling Ed, this is one of the first times we've been able to use this space due to the pandemic. So it's great to have you guys here.
So Chris said that they opened up in January of 2020. Used the space for a month and then everybody left. But it's good to be back, and it feels like people are coming back. So I think the audience here would like to hear from you about, this is really a tech-focused audience, and then how you're leveraging technology to engage with the fans, how your fans consume the game, the experience, and maybe just kind of at a high level. Hear you talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So at baseball, we've made a commitment for really 2 decades now to strategically prioritize technology. If you follow us, you know that we had this MLB Advanced Media Unit that started in early 2000s. And then we were sort of first to get into the digital streaming space with MLB.TV. This is actually the 20th season that we've had a digital streaming product, MLB.TV.
That was before you were the first.
Yeah, we were the first really live property to be on a digitally streamed platform. And it was pretty basic when it started, and it grew over time. And the technology actually ended up being the foundation for Disney Plus and a lot of other, major streaming technology. And so we felt like the heart of baseball is using technology and data to reach our fan base. We've invested in that from the beginning. And it's sort of a core tenet of what we do here at Major League Baseball.
And you've had results.
Yeah, look, so MLB.TV is probably the largest direct-to-consumer sports streaming property. We have a variety of other products like the MLB app, which is the number 1 rated sports app for scores and baseball information. And we've been investing in a new product called the Ballpark app. Same thing, very highly utilized. If you're going to the game tonight at Citi Field, you'll use that to get into the ballpark. And so we've really made an investment to understand our fan base and our audience and use technology to connect.
And so biometrics, right? So the whole idea is that you won't need a ticket. Is that where this is going?
We're working on that. And obviously, Extreme would be a big part of that because you'd have facial recognition technology. You'd have scanning technology that would eliminate the need to go through wanding and mags. And then the backbone of that is all built on our Extreme infrastructure that is across all of our ballparks in baseball, particularly at Citi Field. If you go to the game tonight, you'll see the infrastructure that we have from Extreme there that really fuels the back end of what happens in a ballpark, both for entry, but then also for fan engagement. So fan Wi-Fi, delivering highlights, scores, standings, information to fans during game. That's all powered on the back of the Extreme network.
And when you think about the game itself, automated balls and strikes feels pretty revolutionary, but you're pretty advanced in the process. And I think people might want to hear about that. And how should we expect to see that kind of enter the game?
Yeah. So, I talked about technology from a fan engagement standpoint, but a dual purpose to that is actually using technology to enhance the game on the field. And so we have a system that calls strikes automated calling of balls and strikes. It can actually track a pitch to less than 1/10 of an inch of accuracy. And our umpires are good, despite, what some of our fans think. But, 1/10 of an inch is
they can't be that consistent.
Exactly. So it's a really good technology. We've been using it in the minor leagues. And I think at some point you'll see that at the major league level, not next year, but at some point, and I think that's where the world's going. But we have a whole host of other technologies. If you're going to get a tour of the office today, you can actually go see our replay center down on the 5th floor that does all of our instant replays. And another great technology that we use at the venue is our dugout iPad. So all of our players get access to an iPad with live games, stats, information, video, and that's all again powered on the back of the Extreme network. All the Wi-Fi equipment that we have in the dugout and the bullpens is all, fuels that iPad technology. And those types of things are examples of the clubs who embrace technology and embrace data are the ones that are more successful. And we see a clear correlation between like traffic on our iPads and winning on the field.
I thought that was fascinating because Wes mentioned that it's true that the fans that are actually leveraging data and using the technology are actually winning more.
Yeah. So we have a dugout iPad application that allows you to look at video and spray charts and other, data during the game. And so we found that the teams that have leaned in and embraced that, the coaches that understand how to use that technology, are the teams that are more successful. I think 2/3 of our playoff teams last year were in the top tier of usage for that product. And so you see how these types of things fuel the on-field product, alongside what we get from a fan engagement standpoint around, bringing our fans to the ballpark and creating a business opportunity.
So one of the things we were talking about before you came in is new ways, better outcomes. And that's kind of our mantra at Extreme about, how we do. And I think that's another proof point for us in terms of leveraging technology to drive a better outcome. What about Pitchcom? Because that's out. I think that's already being used. And the introduction, has that been successful? And any
Yeah, so we introduced a new technology. You may have seen it if you've been watching games this year. The catcher wears a keypad on his wrist, and the pitcher actually has it's like a bone conduction sort of speaker in his hat, and you can press a button and it says, fastball down and in, right into the pitcher's ear, and so it eliminates the need to give signs. It eliminates the idea of giving multiple sign sets when there's a runner on second base, which slows the game down, and it just creates a much more seamless interaction. And again, you see the same thing there. We made it optional for the clubs. The clubs that are more progressive, the clubs that tend to be more innovative, leaned in right away and have taken advantage of it. They've been more successful. And then now what you're seeing is all the other clubs are rushing in to use that product because they've seen how successful it is.
So one of the things that's different about Major League Baseball is that you control technology for all the different venues. And I would think that would help you control the product at the end of the day. Now you've taken operational control over minor league ball. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and sort of what that means? Yeah.
So, part of our technology strategy is that we really feel like central control of technology infrastructure allows us to harness scale of the league. When you start to think about what's unique about baseball, we have 70 million fans that go to a major league game every year, 40 million that go to a minor league game. You're talking about a customer franchise of 110 million domestic customers. I mean, that's, banks kill for those numbers. And so, we want to take advantage of that fan base and that customer base by leveraging technology. So, when you talk about Wi-Fi in the ballparks, when you talk about other infrastructure, when you talk about making live video available for streaming online, we stream every single major league game, every single minor league game, home and away broadcasts. And again, a lot of that's on the back of Extreme.
You'll do that for minor league games as well?
Yeah, we have a product right now. You can watch, there's, over 100 games, a day that are, you can watch from a minor league standpoint, all on our digital platform. The video is routed directly from the ballpark back to our broadcast command center, which you can actually see here downstairs. And then it's made available for fans, same as all of our 15 major league games every night.
So everything coming back in here, this is the, in terms of regulating the game and making calls, you'll be making calls here.
Yeah, this is kind of the nerve center of our entire baseball operation and infrastructure. We have the replay room, the replay center, but we also have all of our video transmission capabilities headquartered here as well. And so what you see both from a fan engagement standpoint and from an on-field standpoint are all really routed through this office. We have a room that does scheduling and rescheduling. You can look at live camera angles from center field from all 30 ballparks in real time. You can see what the weather's like. You can see if batting practice is going on. And so we've really gone out of our way to make this office sort of the nerve center, for running the game.
That's exciting. I want to shift the conversation over to I know another important initiative, which is youth, sort of engaging youth, and then technology's got to play a big role in that, given how our youth are consuming technology. So, thoughts on how you're approaching that?
Yeah, so we've done a lot of research on the fan base. One of the biggest determinants of whether you're a fan of baseball is whether you played the game or exposed to the sport in some form or fashion. Baseball, softball, playing as a kid, or even just attending as a younger person. And so we really go out of our way to make sure that the game is accessible and available to young kids. You hear a lot of chatter about how people aren't playing sports generally or baseball as young kids, but the reality is baseball is still the number one participation sport between the ages of 6 to 12. We still do a lot of great work to connect young kids to the sport. And that's a foundational element for us in terms of growing the game. From a technology standpoint, we try to use our platform as a way to connect with that audience. So we have a whole host of products on our YouTube channels and other avenues that allow us to connect with younger fans and expose them to the sport. Because once you expose someone at that young age, it's literally like a 2x multiplier in terms of their future engagement with the property. And so we really do a lot of work to make sure that we reach that audience and try to grow that fan base.
All right, so you're thinking about going from the minor leagues to the little leagues, controlling technology?
So the commissioner has this mantra called One Baseball. And so his philosophy is, it's not just professional baseball, it's baseball from start to finish. So little league, college, minor leagues, professional, and really trying to be involved in that entire ecosystem and create consistency across that full gamut of participation. And so we have an entire department here that's dedicated to youth participation. We have a whole host of programming that's aimed at creating opportunity for kids in underserved communities. We have a program called RBI that has about 350,000 participants every year in inner cities and urban communities, giving kids a chance to play and get exposed to the sport. We have urban youth academies in, I think, 10 or 12 cities that provide high-end elite instruction to kids. Hunter Green, actually, who threw a no-hitter and lost the other day, is a product of that platform. So it's been a real big success, and we've spent a lot of time and energy in the space to try to get kids access to the sport.
That's awesome. So then just take a step back for a minute and you look far out into the future, technology vision. When you're thinking about plans, well, first of all, how far out do you think? And then any big ideas that you've got for, the league, technology vision that's out there.
Yeah. Look, we always try to look 5 to 10 years out. I mean, obviously there's a roadmap for the next 12 months, but we really try to think about what the world's going to look like, 5, 10 years from now. And I mean, you actually raised probably the one I would have thought of right off the bat, which is trying to streamline access to the venue. I mean, one of the big complaints that we get from fans about coming to the ballpark is, where do I park? What gate do I go to? Right. How do I get to my seat? And so we're really going through a holistic effort to rethink that whole process, starting with no wait entry, like no ticket scan, no security scan, just walk in. And in fact, it'll actually unlock another benefit, which is reentry. So if you don't have to scan a ticket and we know we know you by your face, you can actually leave, go do something else for an inning or go pick up some food and come back. Because you're not handing your physical ticket off to someone else. And so that just unlocks new opportunities for fan experience that we think will create a compelling product for baseball. So that's probably the biggest one. And then I thought we're always investing in media and streaming. And I think you see where the world's going with a lot of the digital streaming properties. I think we're in a good position based on the history that we have in streaming. But you're going to see us do more and more in terms of making our product available to fans. This year you saw we have a new product on Apple TV on Friday nights. We have a product on NBC and Peacock Sunday morning. We have done games on YouTube for several years. So we're really leaning in and embracing these new video and digital platforms as a way to connect with fans. We're fortunate that we play 2,430 games a year. We have inventory to go around. And so we're leveraging that and creating access to our fan base to watch our product.
Okay, so I'm going to shift away because I know a lot of people want to know, and I know there's a lot of questions. We don't have the time to open up for a Q&A, but as you size up the league, I heard someone ask you this before, but how do you handicap, who's going to take it this year?
Well, so that's the ultimate question you never answer in this job. But what I would say is, interestingly, the first time ever that we've had the 2 New York and LA teams in first place this late in the season. So that's been really interesting. I think going into the season, everyone would have told you that the Dodgers, have assembled a historic roster. And so I think they'll be a team to pay attention to. They've obviously been successful already. The roster that they've constructed in LA, I think is really impressive. And, here in New York, the Yankees are playing really, really well. They've always had great offense. And now this year, with Nestor and some of the pitching, the pitching has followed suit. And so the Yankees look really positive as well, which is good for the fan base here in New York. And then, the Mets with Scherzer and some of the acquisitions they've made have been really strong. So it's when you have two markets, it's usually rare that both teams, whether it's Chicago, New York, LA, it's usually one team is kind of, in a top position at any given year, and it flip flops. But it's funny to see that kind of both the teams in those markets are really, really strong right now, and it'll be worth watching for the rest of the season.
Great answer. Great answer. Thanks so much for spending time with us. Congratulations on all of your personal success and all the great things that you're doing, and sharing the vision and technology vision with us, and for being our partner.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks a lot. Thank you, everybody.